tiny crack in the window lets in a ray of sunlight that the rest of the window filters in blue. This meticulous attention to light is even more striking in his treatment of reflections. The way garments reflect on a figure's skin, the figure's reflections in windows or mirrors. Reflections structure facial areas and features. Or show what lies beyond the pictorial space, as in the glass bulb in allegory of the New Testament, where again open or closed windows are used as a lighting device. In The Astronomer, a glint hardly a quarter-inch wide reveals the rest of the room in a window. Here the reflection is reduced to a sort of atom of light using the Pointill's technique. Perhaps inspired from circles of confusion caused by optical lenses, these beads of light abound in many canvases. Little splashes of lighter color, dabbed on with a brush tip, capture light from all sides, intensifying their brightness. The rough shingles on a sunlit roof, water shimmering against the planks of a boat, the shiny texture of a loaf of bread, the creamy consistency of milk, the luster of fabrics, the sheen of blonde hair. Hence an object's texture is rendered by the capacity of the substance to produce these tiny grains of light. The astronomer deploys the full range of strokes. Medium light strokes, broad applications of color, very fine brush strokes, and finally, pointillés. The painting is signed and dated 1668. The calligraphy is similar to that in other paintings, but the names and dates may have been added after Vermeer's death, perhaps by an art dealer. The astronomer, in fact, has an eventful history. It was registered along with a geographer in several Dutch auctions. The two canvases came to France in 1785, but the royal treasury apparently could not finance the purchase, so they returned to Holland. The Astronomer was sold in Amsterdam in 1797, then again in 1800. It came to London in 1863, appeared in Leopold Double's inventory in Paris, then went to Alphonse de Rothschild, a major collector of the northern schools. When the Nazis started confiscating Jewish belongings throughout Europe in 1938, the Astronomer was seized with the entire Rothschild collection, intended for the museum Hitler planned to build in Linz. It was rescued from a salt mine after the war, along with thousands more works of art, and returned to its owner. Following an agreement between Baron Guy de Rothschild and the state, the Astronomer, the last Vermeer held in a private collection, joined the lacemaker at the Louvre in 1983. The first major study on Vermeer, signed by Tory Burger, was published in La Gazette des Beaux-Arts in 1866. Vermeer had been rediscovered, museums competed for his canvases, and the painter entered the ranks of history.
A small bit of yellow wall with a white wall. A small bit of yellow wall, and yet draped on a circular canapé. Just as abruptly he stopped.
A globe on the table, a window that lights the room. A man leaning over. The scene seems clear. The astronomer rose slightly from his chair to spin the globe of the heavens and check data from his book. Similarly, the geographer leaning over a map, suspended in motion, lifts his eyes in thought. Two complementary canvases, two popular scholarly occupations in a century when ambitious naval explorations rivaled the glory of the astronomer's discoveries. The subject of the scholar and his study was common at the time. Vermeer, moments suspended on the edge of a dream. In this peaceful world, the sometimes equivocal scenes cause uneasiness, gazes invoke the viewer. The obsessive, insistent presence of the letter is open to any interpretation. Indeed, the scenes Vermeer depicted appear to have had meanings that escape us today. A woman standing in the shadow holding a scale in hand. On the wall, a judgment day when souls are weighed. A ray of light reveals a woman is pregnant. Perhaps Vermeer was evoking the theological question of free will. Is the soul of the unborn child predetermined or not? As to the astronomer, it has a well-known precursor, Rembrandt's Faust, receiving enlightenment. What enlightenment could have come to Vermeer's astronomer? It has been suggested that the Moses referred to the prophet's warning against watching the sun, the planets, and the stars. But the book by Metius, at precisely the page shown in the picture, alludes to the patriarchs, the first astronomers. Moses himself, leader of the Exodus from Egypt, has often been associated with geography and travel. In The Astronomer, he occupies the same position as the navigation chart and the geographer. The two canvases might signify man's spiritual path through life. Another possible interpretation, the astronomer has often been called the philosopher or the astrologer. Moses rescued from the water sometimes symbolizes the birth of a child. In Vermeer's time, astronomy and astrology were still linked. A child is expected. To chart his horoscope, the astrologer consults the globe of the heavens, on which the sign of Libra appears most clearly. Lastly, the two canvases might constitute an allegory of the elements in classical symbolism. The Earth's colors and relief are suggested by the rug and the geographer, water by his navigation chart. The globe of the heavens and the astronomer represents air, Moses the aquatic world. The sunlight bathing both paintings would symbolize fire. The twisted figures and strange forms in the patterns of the rug seem to recall the bestiary of the celestial globe. Other readings are always possible, for though the astronomer depicts a carefully enclosed space, each object is directed out of frame towards infinity. The window opens onto the exterior and light, the books onto knowledge, the picture within a picture onto another moment in the history of man, the instruments onto mathematics, the globe onto the stars, and the reflections onto yet another space, the painter and his vision.
La cultura está en tu casa con el tango y el box. Y al terminar, la presencia de la mezzosoprano Encarnación Vázquez en personajes y escenarios.